Hi guys, I'm Abby and this is my channel, and today is the last video of the series I've done for October, where I change my bookshelves every week. As you can see, they're empty already right now, and that's because I already took them down. And this week I'm choosing which shelves of the 4 that I did the last few weeks to keep going forward. And I did 4 different shelves and tested them out for each week, and then took them down and changed them again. And I started off with color order, or rainbow shelves as many people like to call them. Having my books in that order was pretty easy to find things, and it was very pretty. Things were separated, like series were separated because they weren't the same color. The way I set it up, it was kind of hard if I wanted to keep it long term to add books, because I had it shelf to shelf, and you kind of have to like move everything down to fit that book in its color. But it was a very pretty style. I know people who keep their books in color order for all the time. In week 2 I did a little bit different. I did by size, and that week I didn't particularly enjoy. It was very hard. With color order, you could at least recognize what color a book was or will be, so it was easy to find, but I didn't recognize or remember the size of certain books unless I knew they were really tall or really short. Kind of in the middle, I would look quite a while to find a certain book. It did look fairly decent, seeing all the same size of books across the shelf and slowly going down. But as with color, it would also be kind of hard to add in a book because you have to move everything down from where that book was added in. It did help put some series back together. Usually a series will have the same size of books, so it was easy to put those together. And even authors have kind of books that are the same size, so it kind of combined things a little bit more. But it was still hard to find certain books if they didn't have a companion book, or I just couldn't remember the size of it. The third setup I did was by genre. I did this years ago when I had a little less books and a little less shelving, but it's a fairly easy way to find your books and sort them. It's easy to add on, though it can be hard with shelving because, as I sort of found out, some categories would be fairly large and take up multiple shelves. Some categories would be very small, and if there was more than 2 small ones, you have to like figure out what shelf they go on and share them with another category. So sometimes it was hard to shelve them, but it is very easy to add on to your library and add them into the correct places very simply. And series are definitely put back together. Usually all their books are kept together. Every once in a while there'll be a different category that an author will be in, but usually an author sticks to one category, so those were put back together. And then the last setup I did was alphabetical order, which is actually what I had my shelves in before I started this series, and so it was very familiar for me. As with the genre, the alphabetical, they both look all right. They don't look as aesthetically pleasing as like the rainbow shelves. Usually all shelves are filled to a decent amount. It's very easy to add on to your library with the alphabet. It can get a problem if one letter has multiple authors, and sometimes it has to take up more shelves. I had this very close with my S's. Besides my whole Shakespeare shelf, my S's are pretty close to needing to go on to another shelf, which T also has a lot. So if my library continues to grow, doing alphabetically might be hard to make them fit a little better. But of course, all the books of a certain author are together, and then series are put together. It's very easy to find things alphabetically. I usually know what the author's name is. If not, I can sort of, just because I've had it in alphabetical order so long, I can remember where approximately it is. But I've really enjoyed testing out the different setups through the last few weeks. I definitely learned a few things about certain setups, what I liked and what I didn't like, but I'm about to choose which shelves I'm gonna keep for the next while. But I'm about to put my books back up and pick one of the 4 that I did, and then I'll kind of explain why I chose that. But I hope you guys have liked this series. I've really enjoyed making it and doing it, testing out the different categories or styles of doing my shelves. There were a few styles that I considered doing, but either I figured it would take too much time or I was afraid of what it would actually turn out to be. I've seen people do their shelves in like split of what have read, what they haven't read, and I'm just really, I didn't do that one because I'm really afraid of how many books I haven't read yet on my shelves, and so I didn't want to do that. But I have seen people put like on one half all the books that they've read, one half all the books they haven't read. It would be very easy to pick your next book, I guess. Just go to the shelves you haven't read, and I think they choose a like subcategory to separate those 2 main categories. And then also I thought about doing rating. I've seen other people do where they kind of rate all the books. It's again split kind of in read and not read, because you can't really rate a book you haven't read, but then they take all the books they have read and put them in rate order, like 5 stars, 4 stars, 3, 2, and 1s. Or usually I don't think people keep 1s, maybe 2s. So usually it's like 5, 4, 3, then it ends. But I just didn't do that because I think it would take so much time. And some of my books I've had for so long, I know I've read them, but I can't remember enough about them to like rate them. So just by length of time of doing all that, I didn't decide to do that order of ranking all my books. But those are 2 other ways I've seen people separate their books, if you're interested in different ways to add on to the ones I've done in my series. But for my shelves, I've decided to go with rainbow shelves. At the beginning of the series, I did not think I would be choosing this setup for the end, but it is beautiful and I have reasons for picking it. I decided to go with color shelves because I do love how they look, and I just did it a little to fix some of the things I didn't like about them. I left space at the end of the shelves, unlike last time, so I can add in and not move too many books. And one of the main reasons I chose this setup is because in a little under 2 months, I'm actually moving. And so I have a chance to take all my books down and resort them when I get to my new place. And so why not, for the next month and a half, have my shelves look really cool and color order. I feel like having it a little longer time will let me know if I really enjoy it, having it more than a week long. So for the next month and a half, my shelves are gonna look like this. And then when I move, I can either choose to put them back up like this or change them back to alphabetical or genre or whatever I choose. But they are a little more spaced out than last time. Thankfully, I had enough pictures of the last time I did my shelf like this, so I could kind of put them in order. It's not exactly how it was, because that's very hard, but it's pretty close. I looked at pictures and I can mostly see the order of the books that I had them in, so they're pretty close. Again, I left space so I can grow if I happen to get more books in the next few months. But yeah, I never expected me to pick this setup at the beginning of this series, but here we are. And I'm a little excited not to have to move my books next week. It got quicker as the weeks went on, but still, it is a long process. There's a lot of books. You know, thank goodness it got a little colder here in Texas, not by much, but it's still a little warm in here. But yeah, comment down below if you were shocked if I went with color order or not, and if you would put your books in color order. Like this video if you really enjoyed this series, let me know. Also let me know what else you would like to see in the future, And I'll always remember this October as the month I changed my shelves way too many times. But it's been really fun. I really enjoyed seeing all these different layouts and seeing what I liked and don't like, instead of just kind of wondering and thinking how they would go. Now I have a glimpse of how it actually would go. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. And remember, if you want to be someone, why not be you? Bye guys.